What's up, Bonnie community? It's your boy Chris coming at you live, as always, from the Man Cave. Here I am late at night, probably, I don't know, 12 midnight, Saturday night, Sunday morning for, any of you guys who want to be very specific. But for me, it all kind of just blends together. But here I am enjoying some music. In between flipping records, thought I'd give you guys a quick video real quick. Yesterday, had the fortune, I would say, of getting off early from work, being able to go into Charlotte, do a little record digging, swing by Lenny Boy Brewing in Charlotte, North Carolina, grab my wife some kombucha, grab myself some records, and of course, grab myself some beer. Lenny Boy Brewing. The beer on tap or in question. Booty call. Thing about a growler for me, went for my wife, but since I'm there, might as well grab myself a growler. For me, the thing about a growler is when you open it, you gotta finish it. The next day, it's not near, and even a few hours later, it's never nearly as fresh. So, cheers to finishing out this booty call tonight. Lenny Boy Brewing, unbelievable, Charlotte, North Carolina. Highly recommend, if you guys are ever in the area, stop by, please. Give them some business. They're wonderful people. If you love beer, if you love kombucha, if you just love a great atmosphere, please stop by. Show them some business. So, I'm going to try to get through with this one pretty quickly. Recent finds, recent upgrades. Real quick, here we go. So yesterday, go to Lunchbox. I was fortunate enough to pick up this copy of John Coltrane's Ballads. It is an original mono pressing, which of course I already had an original mono pressing. But immediately, I'm digging through the jazz section, and Scott, the owner, always, he sees me, he knows what I'm going for. He knows I'm going for jazz. So I'm going through and I'm looking for the new, I'm going through the new releases, or, if you will, because I wanted to, the black jazz stuff, the tone poets. I'm going through those. And he goes through the C section of the used, pops this up and points it at me. And then just sits it back down. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I've already got that album, but damn, that looked clean. Like, if it's the original mono pressing as well as the one I've already have, then man, we might be in business. So I go over, scoop it up. Sure enough, original mono pressing, all the trimmings. I hate this cover. I'm going to get rid of it very soon. Sleeve, I should say. Splat out. Like I said, original mono pressing, on impulse. Love it. The cover is, man, this thing is damn near flawless. The gloss, I mean, look at that. That's perfect. Only a small imperfection, which you guys can barely see right there. Back's perfect. Gatefold's perfect. No splits, no seams, no problems. Just threw it on the platter here a minute ago, and I've got my new permanent copy. And by, of course, permanent meaning until I find one even cleaner than this one. But if I never find one cleaner than this one, guys, I'm perfectly fucking satisfied. This is a great copy. And it replaces this copy, which had been mine for quite some time now. Again, perfectly clean. All the great stuff going for it. No splits, no seams, no problems as well. But just a little more staticky. I know, that's not really technical. Than the copy that I just picked up. So, I've already made a deal to sell this one off to a friend. It will be loved. And it will be taken care of. So, hey, every so often, just, if there are albums you really love in this world, if there are albums you really, truly love, especially older ones, and you get a chance to upgrade for condition, do it. Seriously, I highly recommend it. Especially if you're dealing with these types of records, which you know you can flip, you know you can sell, you know you can make your money back. Because why not have the absolute best sounding versions and the best looking versions of these albums, especially the ones you love that you can get? And for me, John Coltrane's Ballads is one of my favorite jazz albums, one of my favorite albums, period. So why not have the best looking, best sounding version I can get? And so I upgraded yesterday for way cheaper than I should have been able to upgrade. And I've already made a deal to sell my previous copy. And even the person that I'm selling to is still getting a deal. I promise you. So I come out a winner. My boy comes out a winner. Hey. And that's not the only upgrade. Well, this is an upgrade. The next one was an attempt at a potential upgrade that didn't come through. So this week, I grabbed a copy, a stereo, first stereo of Thelonious Monk, Brilliant Corners. The cover is beautiful. Front, beautiful. Back, beautiful. No splits, no seams, no problems. All that's well. All's good in the hood, if you will. The vinyl. Take a look at it. Splat out again. First stereo. All's good in the hood. Looks beautiful. And so, just based on appearance, be honest with you, I have had a second mono for several years now. A second mono pressing, super clean, that I've been super happy with. And my boy offers me a chance at this, and I'm like, well, hell, I mean, I might can upgrade. And he shows me the pictures, and I'm like, shit, that's clean. I'm like, so I might can, upgrade for cleanliness and, and sound. And I had gotten so cocky about it that I was like, I can start shopping my second mono now. But something stopped me. Don't do that. For one, you know how much you love, the mono format. You know. And for two, man, the copy that you've got now is clean. And for three, man, it's a clean copy. And so I held back. I'm like, let's get this copy in the mail first before I start worrying about shopping. And I get this in the mail and get it in. And tonight I had my first opportunity to throw it on the platter. I throw it on. 2 minutes in, it's abundantly clear to me which copy I should keep. And the copy I should keep was the copy I already had. Thelonious Monk, Brilliant Corners, second pressing, mono. Not very often I'm going to go second over first, guys. But in this case, it's cleaner, it's mono, it just sounds better. So, the one that I'm holding in my hands now, this one, is soon to belong to a great friend of mine. I told him I was trying to decide between the two, and he seemed like he was cool with whatever I decided. And so, this probably be the last time you see it here. So, no worries. On to a spot where it will be loved. And I'm happy about that. So for me, you can grab the stack. Usually I grab the stack before I do this video, but for some reason, I wasn't thinking about it. You guys know me, you know I won't edit this shit out. I never do. But I was in Lunchbox yesterday. You guys might have seen my impromptu run-in video. Yesterday where I grabbed some great stuff. But I grabbed my new Forever copy of Ballads, which I just showed you guys. I also grabbed not one, not two, not three, but 4 Black Jazz reissues of The Awakening, Hear, Sense, and Feel on Black Jazz. Stanley Collectible 1972 Ensemble Session. legendary black jazz label featuring Frank Gordon, Kenny Chaney, Art Brown, Steve Galloway, Bridget Willis, and Arlington Davis Jr. It's the first ever vinyl reissue. So happy to have it. Not going to spend too much time on these because, again, I did a video on it yesterday, but I don't like to assume that everybody sees every video that I ever do. So, next up, Doug Karn, Spirit of the New Land, featuring the new voice of Gene Karn, which, his wife, obviously. Players, Doug Karn, leader piano, electric piano, organ, Gene Karn vocals, George Hopper, tenor and soprano saxophone, bass, clarinet, flute, and reed flute, Charles Soliver, flugelhorn, Garnet Brown, trombone, Earl McIntyre, tuba, and Al Muzan, drums. Phenomenal album, excuse me. And yeah, man. And it's the first LP reissue of this 1972 release. Very excited about it. Next up, Kelly Patterson, Maiden Voyage, 1973 jazz vocal session, and from the highly collectible black jazz label. Additional liner notes. Players are George Harper, Ernest Van Treese, John W. Hurd, Henry Davis, Everett Turner, Billy Osborne, John LaSalle, Hajis. I love it. I'm going to buy every single one of these black jazz reissues. Walter Bishop Jr., choral keys, prime piano quartet and quintet stylings, and it's the first ever U.S. vinyl reissue. Walter Bishop Jr., Idris Muhammad, Reggie Johnson, Harold Vick, Alan Schwartz, Reggie Johnson, Woody Shaw. Great stuff. Very happy to have you guys. Be listening to this one actually in just a minute. Next up, I bought some rock and roll yesterday, guys. It's an album that I always wanted on vinyl, but god damn it was just too expensive. An original pressing of this one would run you $300-$500, and have I spent that much on jazz albums before? Yes, I have. But I did so knowing those were the best absolute versions of the albums I could get, and in which case the original vinyl pressing of this was not the best you could get. It's a digital transfer. Yada, yada, yada. This is going to be better than that. But anyway, Tom Petty, Wildflowers, and all the rest. 3 LP. It's nice and sturdy and heavy. I can already tell by holding it. But You Don't Know How It Feels is already one of my all-time favorite songs, to be completely honest with you. I've always loved this album. And I've always wanted it on vinyl, but I've always wanted it vinyl and a vinyl pressing, but ribbon produced. It's a phenomenal fucking record. I'm very happy to have it. But I didn't want it so bad that I wanted to splurge on a 9 LP set. I ain't balling that hard, guys. If somebody were to give it to me, fuck, I'd be great. I'd be very grateful, but $40, 3 LPs, I was happy. Thank you. Rest in peace, Tom Petty. I'm very, very, very happy to have that. All right, next up, let's go with a run through real quick. Fluting the Blues, James Moody. It's on Argo. It's original pressing. It's great stuff. I'm sure you're not shocked, but it's an original pressing. Mono. Next up, a couple Herbie Mann LPs. Herbie Mann, Monday Night at the Village Gate. It's mono on Atlantic. And then next up, Herbie Mann at the Village Gate on Atlantic. Separate albums, of course. Next up, Red Calendar, Swingin' Sweet with Buddy Collette, Crown Records. Phenomenal stuff. Definitely dig it. Next up, Brian Augers, Oblivion Express, Reinforcements. I gotta be completely honest with you guys, I do not remember buying this one, but I obviously did. So it's on RCA. Yeah. I have no clue what it is I'm getting into here. Every so often, you just buy one, you don't remember, and you just let it fly. And this is one of those ones. I'll let you know how it sounds, I guess. Next up is an artist with an album, and this artist just seemed to like recorded for everybody at every label ever in the history of the world. It's a Sunny Stitt Soul Girl on Paula Records. You know, Sunny Stitt recorded for everybody. Yeah, everybody. I can't help but notice some disgusting shrink wrap. Hurts so good. Come on, baby, make it hurt so good. Now it looks like an album. But great stuff. It's got the release listed as 1985. Obviously, no doubt. Original press, no doubt sooner than that. But it is what it is. Very happy to have it. Sunny Stitt. I've got so many albums by Sunny Stitt. I got to tell you guys, the consistency. They're all good for one, and so many labels. Next up, Chris Connor sings "Lullaby of Birdland" on Bethlehem. Nice sturdy LP. Yeah, you guys have no doubt heard me say, that I'm not that huge of a fan of vocal jazz, and I'm not. But every so often, I get in here, I get myself a good glass of single malt, and I get in a mood for a good vocal jazz session. And this album is perfect for that kind of night. Chris Connor sings "Lullabies of Birdland." Original pressing on Birdland. On Bethlehem, excuse me. Next up. Junior Cooks. The Junior Cook Quintet featuring Blue Mitchell on Jazzland. Original stereo. Super clean copy. Spino. Junior Cook on tenor, Blue Mitchell on trumpet, Ron Matthews or Dolo Cooker on side 2, numbers 1 through 3, piano Gene Taylor, bass Roy Brooks drums, side number 2, 1 through 3. Phenomenal release, guys. Very happy to have it. Can't wait to toss it on a platter. Phenomenal stuff. Junior's cooking. Next up, one that I had. Chose to upgrade. Preaching Gene Ammons. I decided to go original mono, believe it or not, to original stereo. And the reason being here was for condition. My original mono was probably VG, whereas my original stereo here is strong VG+. I didn't even have to hear this copy to know that it was an upgrade. So Gene Ammons, tenor with organ, bass, and drum accompaniment. It's a wonderful album, but again, it's one of those ones I didn't even have to hear to know that it was the correct upgrade to make. I love my mono. You guys know I love my mono, but if I've got to go original mono and VG to original stereo and VG++, I'm going original stereo VG++, and I'm not hesitating. Next up is one that I have a couple questions about, if I'm being completely honest with you. Because the next two albums that I show you guys are involved in this one. Okay, so I have an opportunity to get this album, which is Junior's Market by Art Farmer. New Jazz, first pressing, Deep Groove, the whole nine. Alright, you don't see that one very often. What I had was Farmer's Market, Art Farmer, very first original mono pressing on Prestige, which is very rare, but not as rare as this one on New Jazz. They're basically going to sound the same. They're pressed by the same engineer, the same everything. But if you're a nerd like I am, and you get an opportunity to have the very first, the most desired copy, then obviously you've got to have it. And so for me, this was it. So I had a desire I had an opportunity to have that, and so I have an opportunity to sell my first prestige copy to whoever wants it. And I'm selling it. I'm posting it online. I'm hoping to get the exact amount of money to buy the new jazz copy. And I get a bunch of people who are interested and then back out because of the cost. Yada 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 yada. You guys know how this shit goes. And then I get somebody who offers a trade. And I'm like, trade. I'm like, okay. I won't rule out a trade. But I told this guy, I said, I won't rule out a trade, but you got to come with a ruckus. I just got to let you know. I mean, you got to really come with something. And they came with something. And they came with something, and not only did they come with something, but I've got some questions about what they came with. It's Hank Mobley with Donald Byrd and Lee Morgan. The Blue Note 1540. It's awesome. Obviously. Phenomenal album. Bam. It's just beautiful across the board. But for me, the cover looks to be original. The album, the record itself, RVG stamped. It's got the year. It's got the Lexington labels. But it's got this Liberty insert in there. And the seller had, when they traded it to me, was even like, well, yeah, it's like a Liberty copy that's got Lexington, labels for some reason. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I guess that could happen. But after I got it, it's like, man, I'm not sure that this guy doesn't have an original mono copy with Lexington labels that just so happens to have somebody like shove a Liberty insert in there. I have no clue. I've never known of Liberty reissues to suddenly have Lexington have center labels on the records. I've never known of that. But just because I've never known of it doesn't mean it's never happened. But I think it's far more likely that I have a very first original copy with Lexington have labels and just so happen to have a Liberty insert than it is the other way around. But either way about it, I'll keep you guys updated, And obviously, I would prefer it to be the way I just stated because then this record's worth even more money. But who knows? Either way about it. It's a phenomenal album. Even when I first got the news of the trade, I had a Japanese pressing. A super, super duper clean Japanese pressing of the album. And I was like, okay, well, if I can get this copy. So, I mean, who knows? I mean, I have no idea what this is going to turn out to be. I mean, there's a rabbit hole I've got to go down for this one. So, we'll see where we end up at. But anyway about it, very happy to have this super clean. Going to be spinning it here in a minute, actually. And finally, last, I've already showed it to you, obviously. Just showed it to you a minute ago. Farmer's Market, Art Farmer, on New Jazz, 8203. Original mono, deep groove, New Jazz. Man, goddamn, that's beautiful. That's a whole lot of greatness on an album. That's Art Farmer Quintet with Hank Mobley and Kenny Drew. So that's Art Farmer on trumpet, Hank Mobley on tenor, Kenny Drew on piano, Addison Farmer on bass, and Elvin Jones on drums. Guys, that's a motherfucking great record all the way through. And I think, pretty sure I've got the rarest copy you can get of it. and it's in super, super, super clean condition. And I couldn't be harmer. I couldn't be happier. Excuse me. Man, it's a beauty. So anyway, I'm gonna go back to listening. I'm gonna do some more research on my Hank Mobley with Donald Byrd working copy because, again, I'm not so sure. I've never heard of a Liberty copy with Lexington Nav label, so I'm gonna do some more research on that one. But anyway, until next time, until next video, keep dropping that needle, you guys.